What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode. We're going to continue on from the episode about the AI tiers. Last time I gave you a pyramid of 4 tiers of AI from the people who use the tools, I guess you could say at the bottom, to those who are the researchers and they invent the models at the top. You can always just go back to that video and see like the 4 tiers that I created. You know, the whole point was to see where do you fit into that, levels of AI people have today. So I wanted to continue on with that theme and break it down a little bit more, because there's a whole new species of like job titles that are flooding the boards, and by boards I mean like Indeed and LinkedIn and such, even in some companies, that I don't think the pyramid alone can explain. It can be quite detailed. So I started to talk about it, like AI transformation leader, AI capability manager, head of AI enablement, AI community lead, AI lead. And I'm not making these up. I've been looking through them because I'll look at this and I'll go, what are these people talking about? What are they really trying to look for? I see the list and it looks, it starts to look like many different companies ask for the same role, I guess, but they're not homogeneous. So I tried to break it down, and I used AI. I made a little quick tool, a prompt or an agent, and I took 83 different positions here in Finland, and I fed it through, and I asked it to create the levels, like to understand what does this mean. So like maybe 2 years ago, some of these titles didn't really exist, but just companies knew that they needed to have something with AI because it's going to matter, and they know they need someone to own it. So the vagueness isn't harmless. In some cases it might send the wrong people running towards the wrong roles, but in other cases it also might be screening out the right people. So to see why, we have to stop reading these titles as one thing and maybe start running them each through a filter. So like the 4 AI tiers that I think I'm trying to help with. So every one of these roles answers 2 questions, and the questions are independent. And I think you should get into the habit of asking both, right? So question number 1 is, how much technical depth does this role actually need? And that, like in the pyramid, that would have been a tier 4, using the tools, and then tier 3 would be building on top of them. And then you have the tier 2, your machine learning engineers, and then finally the tier 1, which is the research, the PhDs, etc. And then question 2, which I don't think was clear in the pyramid, is how much of this job is leadership and business judgment and not really building anything, like someone who can lead people, the soft skill rather than the technical skill, right? So those are 2 different dials. So a role can be quite low on one and pretty maxed on the other, not 6, 7. And almost every one of these new AI titles that I went through, it's like quietly turning the leadership dial kind of way up, while the ad only talks about the technical one, if that makes any sense. When you dial leadership way up, then you get to a point where you're trying to get someone who can lead a team of maybe technical experts. Now, of course, there's the argument that the leader should have some technical abilities as well, and there's definitely no denying that. It's helpful. Their strength is to gather the troops and get them going. Yeah, maybe one day they were technical, but that's no longer the case. They're no longer required to be the technical person. They are just simply supposed to know to drive a company towards a goal, and use their ability to round up the troops with a little bit of technical knowledge and to get it going. You're not going to get Mr. Leader sitting up at 6 p.m. after work hours trying to figure out why there's a line in the code that's not working. There are those out there who do that. They love to get their hands dirty. They really like to stay into it, but they're going to be so hyper-focused on what they're doing, it's going to be hard to run the company. It's a lot of cases why a lot of startups will have a founder who's the person maybe who is a technical guy or girl who started the business, but then they get a CEO. And that CEO doesn't necessarily need to be someone who is 100% aware of how to write Python code or to do machine learning or anything like that, but they know how to get the right people to do it for them and drive them in that direction. Right, long way around this, but what I was trying to say is, when you dial up leadership and then you put AI, but then in the AI you say, oh, well, they also need to be able to write pretty much AI code. that ain't gonna fly. It's not gonna be easy to find those people. Those people are rare. There's not a lot of them. And that's what I'm trying to get to. And that's what a lot of these positions that are opening up out there are. And if anything, I think we need to start explaining and really understanding and delineating those different roles. Okay, so here's maybe just a quick exercise. So AI community lead or like an AI champion. When you run it through the tiers, that's actually just someone who has AI fluency and they're high in people and influence. So this is I guess you could call it a culture job. A culture job. You're getting a whole organization comfortable using AI tools. That's it. There's no engineering required here. That's what that title means. And then like a title like AI Capability Manager or Head of AI Enablement. This is like a tier 3 awareness. It's a high leadership role. You're building programs, you're upskilling teams, you're selling standards, and you do need to understand like what's buildable. You should have that as an idea. But you don't need to build it yourself. Like that person doesn't have to sit there and build a thing, or she should just know what's required to build it. An AI transformation leader, like the example I just gave, this is quite a tier 3 heavy business judgment level. So this is a person who will decide where AI actually moves the needle, how can they sequence it, carry the organization through the change. And this one is probably where I think a lot of companies should be heading in that direction. And that's where I guess you'd say tier 3, very heavy, but with business leadership. AI solutions and engineering and AI product engineer. This one is genuinely like a T3 to tier 2, very technical. The depth dial matters the most here. So now if you look at the pattern, there's 4 of the 5 that I just shared are mostly leadership with a kind of a modest technical requirement. Only one of them was really a deep build role. But the market is inventing these leadership jobs and then describing them in engineering language. And I think we need to delineate that, which it raises a problem, which I'll bring up in the next episode. How about that? One more, let's get some views. If most of these roles are, 70 to 80% leadership, then the person who led the teams and transformations for, 15 years on paper is actually the strongest candidate for these roles. Maybe the technical gap is kind of a small gap, but it's easy to close, right? Everyone here probably watching this because they read the word AI on the title, understand either is looking into it or training themselves or learning something or genuinely interested in AI. So why does almost every one of these ads end up screening out the actual leaders, but they're going for the market is filtering on the wrong axis, and it's potentially costing companies their best people. So let's see. I'll break it down in the next episode, and I'll share it with you. So if you've actually seen one of these titles and you felt like you were the right person for this role, but you couldn't tell what it wanted, even though you weren't technical, just drop it in the comments, and I'll try and decode it. See you next time.
Excellent.